Am I Wrighster or am I wrong? I'm not interested in hearing the fake hypocrisy, passive aggressive tears over Montrezl Harrell calling Luka Doncic a bitch ass white boy. The NFL could cause a public health crisis with fans in the stands. Kobe Bryant's death impact is the same 7 months from January 26th. Roger Goodell's apology to Colin Kaepernick is too late at this point in time. And I have a parting shot that you are not going to want to miss. But we will start with Montrezl Harrell and Luka Doncic. I'm not interested in hearing the fake hypocrisy, that passive aggressive tears over him calling Luka Doncic a bitch ass white boy. Montrezl Harrell, if you don't know, is a center, power forward for the Clippers, and Luka Doncic is a Slovenian point guard, a do-it-all guy for the Dallas Mavericks. So they're playing in the playoffs. They get into a series. They get into an argument, like a sports argument. Sports, you get heated, all of this. And Montrezl Harrell, after they get into it, exchanging words, calls Luka Doncic a bitch ass white boy. And I will say this. This is where you got to check your feelings at the door. Because anybody, and I mean anybody, who thinks that saying white boy to a Caucasian person is equivalent to saying the N-word, or even calling an African American a boy, is an idiot. I don't care if you're white or black. That's an awful opinion. And it's not even close, and you know it. It's absolute BS. Because it doesn't carry the same weight or intensity as the N-word. Because was it mean? Was it mean-spirited by Montrez? Absolutely. Yes. But this is just a convenient opportunity for some white people who are looking for something to be upset about. A tit-for-tat moment for them. See, look, they did it too. What if it were in reverse? If it were in reverse, first off, it would have been a fight. That's the first thing. But the words don't have the same meaning and you aren't even offended by it, which is the most important thing. If you were actually offended by it, then that would be different. But the word boy used by in history, in the United States, the word boy, they would refer to slaves, the grown men, as boy, to dehumanize them and also lower their stature below them as a childlike. Racists would do that. They even do it now. They call you that to demean you. But it is different in context to a white person. It is. It just is. And mind you, Luka Doncic isn't even American, so it doesn't even have the same, nothing. He's Slovenian. And here's the thing. Also, is it a little bit hypocritical? A little bit. A little bit of a double standard? A little bit. But the difference is, it's the same thing like I've said before. My wife and her friends can call each other bitch. If they are like, hey, bitch, how you doing? They can do that. But if I do it, it's a problem because the word doesn't carry, the word for them calling it to each other as a term of endearment does not carry the same weight and intensity as if I said it. Because the word nigger, the N-word, is the worst word in the English language. There's so much history and hate surrounding it. So you can't equate these things. It's a false equivalency. And truthfully, the term white boy, I've used it before. Maybe it should be out of my vocabulary as well. But here are the things that I have said. Man, that white boy can ball. That white boy can jump. That white boy cold. And yes, that does play into some of the racial stereotypes in sports. But most time that there is some truth behind them. But it can be a term of respect where saying that to a black man is never a term of respect. It's not. And that's where I get tired of the cancel culture hypocrites. Like they'll tell you, oh, we hate cancel culture. Stop trying to cancel people just because they make a mistake. I have made it clear where I stand on cancel culture. Is that if you are in a position of authority and power and you abuse that, you gotta go. But people make mistakes. And yes, there should be a place for education, because it's not just canceling people. We want to change behavior. That's the only way, because otherwise they go in their corners, they retreat to their corners, and it only fortifies and reinforces what they believed to begin with. But this cancel culture, oh, should Montrez be fired? Should he be suspended? Should he be fined? That is soft crybaby, what about us behavior. And truthfully, they don't even care. They don't even care. It's just passive aggressive nonsense. But I wanted to talk about the stereotypes for just a second, because you have white superstar and Caucasian superstar in Luka Doncic. And when you pull it, this goes into the white boy thing, because he does things that James Harden, that other NBA superstars that we have seen currently in the game do, but he's going to get more credit because there are not very many white or light-skinned, fair-skinned superstars in the NBA. Think about this, just in general. White guy, he gets in the world of sports, whether it's football, basketball, any of that. What do they say about them? He's high energy. He's high effort, not super athletic. He's a cerebral player. He makes the most of his physical abilities. What do they say about the black guy? Oh, he's smooth. He is very athletic. He can do all these amazing things. And when a black guy is not a fantastic athlete, they say, oh, he's a marginal athlete. Yeah, and it's looked at as a negative. So in the NBA, when have you seen a superstar, a Caucasian American superstar in the NBA since Larry Bird? You really haven't. You had Dirk, he was German. Steve Nash is from Canada. Manu Ginobili is from Argentina. You got people from all over the place that have not been American. So yeah, I mean, yes, there is something to the stereotypes. Then the NFL, you don't see white running backs really, except for Christian McCaffrey at this point in time. You don't see white DBs. Yeah, there's a little bit of a stereotype to it, but kind of true a little bit, right? Moving on. The NFL is going to have fans at their games. Could be up to 13, 16, 17,000, depending on the stadium. And even 2 days ago, Kansas City had 2,000 fans at their practice. Video pictures come out. A good portion of these people are not wearing masks. And I talked to on Fox Sports Radio yesterday, Blair Kirchhoff, who writes for the Kansas City Star. And we were talking about this. And he said that Kansas City is going to further put in recommendations and ways to enforce the mask policy. And the reason why this is because the NFL has the potential, if they don't enforce this, that they can cause a public health crisis with COVID-19. And that's why you have some teams being very smart, like the Seattle Seahawks, because they're going to let Kansas City, who's going to bring some more fans in very soon for practice, be the crash test dummies. Does that mean something will go wrong? No, because in crash tests, what happens? Yeah, the car crashes, but the dummy's not always hurt. They live, they would make it if it were a real person. So that doesn't mean that it's going to be a disaster, but the teams like the Seahawks and a few others have said that they're not going to have fans at their games until after the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season. Why do you think that is? Because they want to see what happens elsewhere, and their cities have told them, nah, you are not going to cause a public health crisis here. But can the NFL work? Because I've been a person who has been saying, I don't see football working. You got 60 guys. You're supposed to control what they do after they get frustrated, upset, if they've been drinking, smoking, anything like that. Good decisions don't continuously happen. We have seen it in the MLB. Guys going to do things that they're not supposed to do, sneaking out of the team hotel. Like we've seen Indians pitchers get sent down for it. So how are you going to control that many NFL players? But the NFL can make it because the MLB has made it so far. But you got more guys, which increases the risk. And they've also missed a bunch of games. The NFL has not put out a public contingency plan for missed games. They're just going to decrease testing and end it on Thursday or Friday before the games to try to make sure none of this happens. Next thing up. Well, I just really hope that the NFL, that they're not held liable and that they are very careful with what they're doing, because the Miami Dolphins are talking about having 13,000 fans, but you won't know till weeks after the game if it turns into a super spreader event and how fans really act at the game, because they may not exactly just follow rules, and then you're going to have ushers and attendants trying to police them. I don't know about that, buddy. The Big Ten parents are still at it, dude. They may be filing lawsuits against Nebraska, Iowa, Ohio State to try to get the season reinstated. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen, but they are still at it, which goes to everything in life. Transparency is king. Go back to the past episodes if you want to see more about the Big Ten parents. But the thing that people really haven't talked about sports coming back in college and people saying that the money needs to be generated, all this needs to happen. The thing that people really, really haven't talked about is that, yes, the money in sports is big. For some of these teams, $200 million. But the money is way bigger with having students on campus. That money dwarfs the athletic budget because people donate to the endowment. There's more money literally generated by tuition and fees. That is where the real money is. So even if sports aren't around, the colleges want to get the students on campus because, like my daughter, we were considering pulling her out of LMU for a semester or the year because paying $60,000, and I know that it's different if you're in an in-state school and you are and a state school. I know it's a lot cheaper, but same point applies. You do not want to pay the same amount for going to school online as you do in person. And especially for those people who have a lot of student loans, they're like, why am I going to keep accumulating this for when I'm not getting the type of learning environment that I am trying to pay for? So that is the reason why some of these schools are having kids on campus, even though it may interfere with football, because that's where the real money is. Next thing, my heartstrings have been tugged at the last 2 days, like dramatically, because yesterday was Kobe Bryant's birthday, would have been 42 years old, and now in LA today is Kobe Bryant Day, 8/24. And I tweeted it out, but his death impacted me way more than I ever thought it would, and I'm a Kobe Bryant fan. But I felt so terrible. Like, I felt bad the fact that I missed him so much. Like, it hurt me so deeply, like just a level of hurt that he was gone. Like, I remember exactly where I was at my kid's flag football game, right less than probably 3 miles away from where he crashed. And my level of hurt and devastation was so bad. And then I looked at it, I was like, wow, I feel bad because I feel like this should be reserved for his wife, his family, and his close friends. But then it made me think even more that, like, if I feel this terribly, like, I can't even imagine how they made it through even one day. And it hurts the most because there was so much left, it feels like. He gave us so much, but there was so much left. He gave us the Mamba mentality, trying to be your best at all points in time, not just in sports, being focused, like really being interested and curious about things, and not just about the things that are just staring in front of your face, and that there are lessons to be learned, not like if you're a basketball player, that there are lessons to be learned from people in business and soccer and whatever else that you can take and apply to your life in that way. My kids are reading the Wizard books. And I watch his post-career videos like he's a wise man or an elder. That's why it hurts so much. And it feels like there was so much left for women's sports. And so, just hurts. Next thing up, Roger Goodell, though. Roger Goodell. He apologized to Colin Kaepernick with Emmanuel Acho on uncomfortable conversations with a black man. And the apology was good. It was necessary. It was needed because in the statement that he put out like a month or two ago, once the players put their statement out about Black Lives Matter, he went up to the line of apologizing to Colin Kaepernick. And to that, I say his apology to Cap was too late, but better late than never, but never late is better. And I just believe that this interview that he did with Emmanuel Acho, it really humanized Roger Goodell. Because knowing the things that his father stood for and what I've heard about Roger Goodell, the person, in terms of his conversations with ownership about things that they should do, I've learned he's a shield for the owners. Like he takes all the proverbial bullets for ownership. Ownership is the one who wants the players suspended. They want to try to keep order. They want the revenue. They didn't want players kneeling. Some of them hated it so much. They wanted to be able to kick players out of the league, but Goodell was like, nah, you cannot do that. His father protested the Vietnam War with Coretta Scott King and was willing to sacrifice re-election, which is what he did, which is what our politicians should be doing now. Do what you believe and what is right for the people. Not party should not be higher than country and the people in that country. But in terms of the apology to Kaepernick, I do think that Cap made some mistakes by not go in and talk, not speaking up enough. He did a ton and continues to do so much with his actions and is probably still better than so many of the backup quarterbacks in the league now. But still, like Roger Goodell's apology, it was late, but it was necessary. And truly, like, it made me look at him as a different person besides just the guy, the shield for the owners who takes all the bullets and he gets to be the bad guy. Last thing up is my parting shot. So Roger Goodell had the conversation with Emmanuel Acho on uncomfortable conversations with a black man. And this is hard for me to say because I pride myself on being an individual who tries to big people up and not have a crabs in the barrel mentality where you believe that somebody else's success takes away from you and all of this. And when he first announced uncomfortable conversations with a black man, then a couple days later, I think it was announced that he was going to be on Speak for Yourself on FS1. Then I saw that it was going to be with Oprah. Dudes having conversations with Oprah. And it was weird because even though my podcast is growing, I'm in my own lane doing my thing. I was like, it felt like weird to me. I was like, wow, like I couldn't celebrate his success. And I was like, wow, like I could feel it in my heart and I didn't really want to admit it. I was having a little bit of jealousy. I was like, damn, like, what am I going to do about this? Like, I could not celebrate this man's success and it was bad. And then I heard a message from TD Jakes about checking your heart. And he talked about as successful as he's been doing all this stuff. He was talking about him and some of the movies that he's made, produced and all of that. And he said that he felt himself having that same situation. So what he did is he noticed it and he really took honest account of it. And he said, no, I'm not going to let this live in my heart. So why would he not be cheering for another man, especially not another black man, to go out there and flourish? And I thought the same thing. I was like, okay, so now I'm going to do what TD Jakes did. I said, I'm going to go out. I'm going to go celebrate Emmanuel Acho because he's doing really, really good things. The dude is smart. He is educated. He's thoughtful. And the uncomfortable conversation with a black man and things he said on Oprah. Like I went back and I watched all of them. Went back and watched what he had to say on Oprah. Went back and watched it because I was like, I'm going to celebrate him and pump him up until whatever I got going on is gone. Because his success is not impeding on my progress at all because I'm doing good. And I think that that's a lesson that we all should learn. And that's just me being open and honest about my life. And I hope that that's something that if you ever find yourself in that situation, that that's something that you can deal with as well. Am I Wrighster or am I wrong? I'm probably Wrighster, but if not, leave a comment and of course share. Peace out. Catch you on Wednesday.